A new study shows that people who run, swim, or do other moderate exercise have brains that look on average 10 years younger than the brains of couch potatoes. Exercise in older people is associated with a reduced rate of decline in thinking skills that occur with aging. Now, this is according to an observational study that was just published in Neurology, the medical journal of the American Academy of Neurology. People who reported, this was an observational study, light or no exercise experienced a decline that equals 10 or more years of aging in their brain compared to people who reported that they were doing moderate to intense exercise. Well, this was a study done over initially 7 years. They gave these people, around 900 people, cognitive thinking exercises. They reported what kind of exercise they were doing, so that's why it's an observational study. But reporting in terms of whether they were swimming, doing racquetball, intense exercises, or just walking or yoga, low-level exercises.
Is racquetball the first one you go to? Racquetball?
Racquetball is on the list.
Okay.
This was a Manhattan group, so maybe racquetball is more popular in Manhattan. But they were tested again 7 years later for their cognitive thinking skills, and then again 5 years after that. And it showed that basically the group that did the higher level of exercise, their brain aged around 10 years less than those who did only low to no exercise.
There already weren't a lot of reasons to play racquetball. Here's another one, Joe. No, that's crazy. You know, a lot of people talk a lot about how, well, you got to keep your brain active. You got to do a lot of crossword puzzles and stuff, but people forget that physical activities will benefit your brain as well. And I think that's really interesting. Another reason to play racquetball. We all need it.
Here's one quote from the study. The team study quote says, "We found that those with moderate heavy activity had higher baseline scores and slower decline in comparison to inactive patients. The degree of decline was equivalent to the expected decline associated with approximately 10 years of cognitive aging." The study also found that the results were more prominent in the older age group, in the over 65 age group. And the study did find, incidentally, that it will not necessarily prevent something like Alzheimer's, which obviously is all about memory loss, but it did seem to show that it would delay the onset of Alzheimer's. So that's a pretty big breakthrough, delaying the onset of Alzheimer's, which is something that, you know, is a huge problem. And especially now that more and more people are living to older ages, Alzheimer's is something that really, you know, the medical world is focusing on. So to find out that something as simple as doing moderate exercise can delay the onset of Alzheimer's, it's really a big thing.
It is, and especially in this country, you know, I'm not going to say like the U.S. is lazy compared to other countries, but we have a much higher obesity rate, and that really is due to the fact that a lot of people aren't doing enough physical activity. So this is just another reason. It's not just about the physical attributes, it's the mental thing too. So, well, I mean, it's interesting, and people wouldn't usually think that, right? People wouldn't associate how a physical activity could affect your brain in a positive light.
Well, it's all about blood flow to the tissues, getting blood flow to the tissues in the brain. And so while the study doesn't necessarily suggest that it can actually reverse something like Alzheimer's or slow down higher level thinking skills, it does show that this extra blood flow to the brain does seem to slow down the onset of things like Alzheimer's and certainly reduce the brain from normal aging by the equivalent of about 10 years.